Good morning, passengers. Just doing the final checks before we take off. Interior light off, external light on, keep cup open, mega pint of coffee for the drive to town, lip balm, essential. As toasty as my house was this morning when I woke up because the heating kicks in at 5 a.m. We need the lip balm. It's a pleasant 5 degrees Celsius here in Tasmania on Tuesday morning, and we're heading to Hobart Town, where the mountain yesterday had snow on it to sea level. So it's a tropical 2 degrees warmer today than it was yesterday when I left home. But we are in the midst of a week of wintry blasts and chilly weather, according to the Weather Bureau. Good morning, Scout. Cars always fly up this hill, which, like my street comes out right on a bend. So you start to pull out and then bang, there's a car right there. Hey, Skitty Nonna. How you travelling? Whenever I see your name, I want spaghetti. Now, yesterday, because we all got to pour love all over each other because of how heavy life can get, and my job's heavy too, this morning I thought, fuck it, I'm going to go live because I want us to have fun today. I want to know what's been going on around YouTube. There were hints of it yesterday. Scout offered to call me and fill me in, but this is the next best thing. Fill me in on some of it. Because the drama is so ridiculous on YouTube that it makes you laugh and feel better about yourself. So today we're doing, at least we're not as fucked up as they are, therapy, rather than, don't get me wrong, there's always going to be love poured all over people in this chat, irrespective of what I'm crapping on about. It's just the nature of this community. And we can be serious when we need to be too. But we also do a thing called drive therapy, which is now underway. Therapy for today is let's laugh because there are people on YouTube who are more fucked up than we are. I'm registering that name. It will become groundbreaking therapy. We'll all become licensed psychologists, and our clients, when they come to see us, we'll let them tell their story, their tale of woe, because who fucking doesn't have a tale of woe, right? And then after hearing their tale of woe, we'll be like, well, look, your tale of woe is fucked up, as most tales of woe are, and I've heard you tell me about it and it sucks, but it's sort of evidence that you're living a life. You know, you're grieving because you loved people. You're scared because you're moving to a new country on a new adventure. Like everything you're processing and dealing with at the moment is because you're actually living. So I'm going to prescribe a therapy for you, which is essentially go on YouTube, ponce around on YouTube for the first day or two, and you will stumble into something that makes you feel so much better about yourself and will make you laugh. Because although you have a tale of woe, there are people on YouTube with tales of woe who are way more fucked up than you are. So you're already winning. What do you guys think? All two of you. There were 5 of you. I was like, oh, 5 before I even get out of my little sleepy coastal town. Trivial snivelling. Great choice of words there. That would be an excellent membership level. The trivial snivellers. I might change this live's name to that when I get to town. The trivial snivellers of YouTube. You have a way with words, getting on her. Troubles do put life in perspective, but like we were chatting about yesterday, you can't avoid grief and sadness and that deep pain in your heart unless you loved someone. So as much as it sucks to lose people, because we are selfish when we meet people we adore, we want to have them around us forever. We want to live forever with them, you know. So it is sad when they depart, but to pause for a moment and realise that deep ache in your heart is deep sadness and sorrow because you also felt deep love for them. Please ignore me, Tony. You're funny. But communities, I don't like saying karma because I can't stand those mashups of words. Like, the word brunch either. I'm not just YouTube critical of mashed up words. They're called black spots in Australia. I'm surprised some politically correct fuckface hasn't gone nuts, you know, about how they shouldn't be called black spots. And they're called that because that's how they appear on maps. But, you know, thanks for the reminder for everyone, Scout. Because it's school holidays at the moment, so the traffic's flowing beautifully. What a difference it makes when you don't have all those fucking massive SUVs with one tiny little 4-year-old in the back seat with a backpack 3 times bigger than the kiddies, clogging up the morning traffic. But I've got to, look, I do occasionally dip my toes into the drama world just to have a chuckle. Because there are some characters in that world that make me laugh. They've got turns of phrase and there's just something about their personality. Whether or not I'd be mates with them in real life is not the issue. It's just they've got personalities and I enjoy listening to their turns of phrase and what they're ranting about. But I kind of am also amused, as you all know, by just the Groundhog Day nature of it. Oh, I know, school holiday traffic. Oh, my God, it's like heaven. At the end of the school holidays, the day the parents are taking their kids back to school, they're all singing, "It's the most wonderful time of the year," like sending the little turds back to school. But school holidays starting, it's the child free amongst us. And the workers, we're all like, "It's the most wonderful time of the year." I think, I can't read that comment now. I glanced at it before I pulled out onto the highway, but friendship, yeah, I mean, look, this community is full of extraordinarily gorgeous people. The amount of care and love that flows out in this chat, you don't see on many channels. But on top of that, the amount of laughter and funny one-liners and clever comments, you also don't see a lot of. You know, like you might be in a YouTube live and there might be 1 or 2 people in there that are cracking a few one-liners, and you might be like, "Oh, there's a couple of funny people on YouTube. How rare!" But this chat, like, if we were on fire, Oh, that's a general sweeping reminder for everyone as they roll in. It's getting on. It's hard to read my phone because it's a long way from my face, and I'm not blind as a bat, but I do require reading spectacles of the bifocal prescription nature. But my phone, we're not allowed, if you touch your phone in your car here and you're spotted doing it, depending on the circumstances, you'll either get a warning with a massive fucking fine, or if you're dumb enough to be holding it in your hand and texting, you'll lose your license. And rightly so. The people I feel really sorry for, I feel sorry for lots of different people, but a group of people I feel unbelievably sorry for and sad about are innocent people who are responsible drivers, don't break any road rules, or might get caught speeding 2 kilometres an hour over the speed limit, that sort of stuff, who get fucking obliterated by some fuckwit on their phone texting a friend or FaceTiming while they're driving. Some young fucking asshole who can't even conjure up the idea of focusing on driving and keeping themselves, but also everyone else on the road safe, and can't bear the thought of ignoring their phone for 10 minutes or whatever it is. Have you noticed, don't get me wrong, some of these little dickheads do actually end up writing themselves off as well. But, and I'm all for for Darwin. I'm a big fan of Darwinism. But more times than not, those shitheads walk away from the accident completely destroying another family. I've said it before on this channel, if any member of my family, green as, whoa, hello beautiful, if anyone in my family, my friends, or anyone that I love and care about got wiped out by some little fuckwit fucking on their phone while they're driving, I will make it my life's mission to make their lives miserable. All legally. It's scary enough how many people die in car accidents just because of shitty weather conditions or faulty cars, whatever. But these are completely avoidable. And I hate that they use the word accident, because they're not accidents. They are a disaster waiting to happen. They're completely predictable. An accident to me is something that is unforeseeable. But if you are fucking around on your phone and you cross the road in your car and slam into another car, that was a foreseeable crash. It's not an accident, it's a crash. Look at me getting all fiery over that. I wish I'm not big on everything being PC, and I'm not a social justice warrior, but there are some words that are misused. And I don't think the word accident should ever be used when some fuckwit's been playing with their phone and not paying attention to the driving they're doing, and they've killed other people as a result of it or injured other people. Yeah, it's getting on. We think alike. Oh, Green Eyes has written me an essay. I mean, I don't get how kids are still doing it when there are so many education programs with video footage, and there's those websites like Last Words. I don't know if you've read that website, but where they've got all the final text messages that kids who did kill themselves by, and probably other people too, by texting while they were driving. And you just think, was it worth it? I'll be there in a boom. When my niece, she's my oldest niece out of my nieces and nephews, got her driver's license, I actually said to her, she's not glued to her phone like my younger nieces, like they're 10 years apart in age. My older niece has never been, or nephew actually, from my sister's kids, they've never really been glued to their phones, even though they are sort of in that first batch of phone generation kids. But Jemima's so responsible that she didn't really need my advice. But I gave the same advice to her younger brother, that when they got their licenses, to put their phones in the boot of their car, the trunk, as you guys in the US of A would say. We call it a boot. Don't ask me why. I think it's cute. But anyway. And also their friends. And I said to her, to both of them, you know, I know that people listen to music through the Bluetooth in their cars with their phones, but cars now come with a USB plug in the boot. Chuck your phone on, chuck your music machine on. You can control the volume and skip songs and everything from your steering wheel. And I told my sister that, she's like, that's really good advice. I was like, I'm full of it. To Americans, a boot is an ass. No, it's not. A fanny's an ass in America, whereas in Australia, a fanny's a vagina. I mean, we say, I'll beat you up the bum, as in I'll give you a kick up the ass with my boot. Hi, Lee. How are you, gorgeousness? Ah, booty. Yeah. We've adopted that. I mean, it doesn't get used a lot, but we have adopted some Americanisms. We grew up on Sesame Street and The Muppet Show. And heaps and heaps and heaps and heaps and heaps of US TV shows. It's quite interesting. The younger generation have an American twang running through their accent. Like I don't think Australians have accents. Like wherever we live, we don't think we've got accents. But a couple of younger folk who I've met, I'm like, what's your background? Where are you from? Because I'm detecting a bit of an accent. And they're like, oh, I just grew up watching shit online and watching TV. Like I've got a screen time accent. They sort of pick up little quirks of other languages and accents, and it becomes this sort of accent that sounds like they've travelled or they've lived somewhere else in the world, or they've got a parent who's not an Aussie, but they've just got these little twangy words they've picked up from growing up looking at screens. It's kind of interesting. A land bridge. Kind of. I mean, it's man-made. It's a causeway, we call them. There's a second one coming up, Tony. This is my beautiful drive to work every morning. I love it. I mean, I drive over water 3 times. Hey, beholder. I didn't actually see you roll in, but I can see Scout greeting you. You're 61, green eyes? Green eyes. You're 61. Oh. Beholder, now I see you. Hello. So come on, feed me, Groovers. What's the tea? What have I missed? I was told yesterday, there'd be all kinds of crazy. I did listen to one of my favourite characters, I must admit. She always makes me laugh. I don't care whether people love her or hate her. The truth always cracks me up. There is always a turn of phrase or something she'll say that just gives me a chuckle. Like, now I'm confused. I'm pretty sure it's air raisins is what she calls flies when her beautiful dog that died, Lolly. Lolly used to eat the flies. She called them air raisins, and I've called them air raisins ever since. Haven't listened to her for fucking ever. But she'd been live, and I chucked her on, and she was talking about Makeup Mobster and all these people, Hello Starlight, who, they were all in that sort of YouTube world when I first discovered the world of YouTube lives. And honestly, I could have been listening to The Truth talking about something that happened 3 years ago, really. I mean, it's same, but slightly different, I love these drives too, Lee. It's fun. I like taking you with me on this. And this little island is so pretty. Although sometimes I'm surprised you guys don't get sick of me doing the drives to work, because there are two ways to go. I have taken you a different way as well. Okay, let's see. Your cat ate June bugs like popcorn. There's a private investigator making the round causing chaos. Oh, tell me more. Private eye. They're watching you. They see your every move on YouTube. There's a private eye causing chaos. This sounds good. I want the good tea. You're delivering. Oh, regarding the Dylan Round case. Okay, I am the first to admit I know fuck all about that case. I have seen the name. The name is in my notifications, but I just haven't been able to. Well, you guys all know the week I've had last week, but I haven't been able to actually educate myself on that case. So I don't know anything about it at all. You're used. Now we're going over the second causeway. And some mornings it'll be dead calm, the sun will be out. Not today, there's still a lot of snow on the mountain. I can see the mountain over in the distance. You guys probably can't because of your panoramic view, but when we get closer to Hobart, you'll see snow. That PI is cray-cray. So what? Is it a legitimate PI? Are you saying someone with skills has infiltrated the YouTube true crime community, like someone who actually knows their job, and they're causing chaos? Oh, this sounds like fun. Are they a serious, legit PI, and why are they on YouTube? Don't they have PI things to do? Is it a bit quiet for them? They don't have any cheating husbands to tail? Oh, Cradle Mountain's so beautiful, Green Eyes. I'm going up to the Freycinet Peninsula in less than 3 weeks, only for 2 nights, but holy fuck, where I am going, I will go live a little bit, not much, because I'm going up there with my best mates here, the Andys. The 3 of us are going to a bucket list place for me. They've already been twice, but it's on their bucket list still. They go back every year. And it's got a lot of yummy out and about kind of activities to do, but it's also got a lot of do fuck all activities and, a spa. And so I will have a little bit of downtime, but I'm picturing some of my downtime being having naps. But I will definitely go live just so you can see the view and my pavilion, because holy shit. I mean, I nearly had to take out a second mortgage on my house to do this, but I haven't travelled overseas for the last 3 years, and I used to go overseas at least once a year, usually twice. And if I didn't go overseas twice in a year, I'd go overseas, but also to the mainland at least 2 or 3 times a year. So I'd spend about 10 grand a year on travel. minimum. So I'm justifying it that way. And it's, I can't read chat at the moment, guys. This is where we got to watch the road because suddenly we go down to crawly usually. But it's a destination too that's 100% about gluttony. It's full degustation dinners. Like every meal they serve you is absolutely to die for, kind of high-end cuisine, but using all Tasmanian fresh seasonal products. And they bring you food to your villas, like in between meals. There's, morning, afternoon teas. If you go out on one of their activities, like we're going to go oyster shucking and learn how to shuck oysters, and they serve champagne. So you're standing out in the water and your waders, after shucking oysters, we're going to a nice glass of champagne. It's so good. It's called Sapphire, but with 2 Fs, SAFFIRE. So yeah, if you want to feel envious, Google Sapphire Tasmania. It's where I'm going, and I'm so fucking excited. They're starting to put together the itinerary for us. We're doing a wine pairing course. They take us to a local winery and we walk around the vineyard, and then they do wine pairing. And it's not wine tasting, like they give you full glasses of wine. Apparently you're just basically drunk, but like happy drunk. It's not party town. Like you want to have a good time and enjoy everything that they have on offer. So you don't want to write yourself off and miss half a day of shit. But also they seem to provide wine. There was a foraging tour that I really wanted to do, but unfortunately Mick, the Indigenous tour guide, is on leave in August, so I don't get to do that. But I was really keen because I've got that whole connection to country interest, and it was actually called Connection to Country. But yeah, so unfortunately I don't get to do that. So I was like, all right then, well, I'll do the shucking because I've shucked oysters before. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll do the shucking with the boys. And you get, wow, it looks fantastic. You're already looking at it. Sounds like the Golden Girls on the juice at the beach. I'll be accelerating shortly, so I won't be able to read chat. But I'm going to enjoy my adventure. It's going to be amazing. But yeah, it's winter here, so there won't be any cocktails on the beach, Tony. It's more of a bunker down in your beautiful villas with a big open fire and stumble across to the restaurant and get mountains of food shoved in your face. And it's so civilized that when you get there on the day, the first day, you check in before 12. So you check in at like 11:30, and they feed you lunch. Like you don't rock up at, how a lot of places you check in at 2. Yeah, it's not cheap. But I saved and saved and saved and saved. We got a discount because we booked the rooms a year ago. Not a big one, but you also get a $150 credit to use. And the boys always buy a bottle of French champagne, but I'm putting it towards a 2-hour spa treatment. So the spa treatment's only going to cost me like $130. And it's a full-on 2-hour massage, hot stone massage, which is my favourite, and this amazing facial. And I couldn't do that for $130 anywhere else. But the food, like each dinner, ends up being about $500-600 a head. So you've got 2 of those. The lunches are about $300 a head. The villas alone, like the accommodation, the villa is a huge, or the pavilion, that's a huge part of it too, like the architecture of it. You've got your own bath with an amazing view out over Freycinet Peninsula. The rooms are stocked with an open wine cellar. Like it's absolutely lavish. Yeah, the dinners are all included, and that's the thing. Like, it's marketed at wealthy travellers from outside of Tasmania, because for us, like, there's a lot of activities that a visitor from somewhere else who wants to see Tassie would do, but we're not because we live here. For Tasmanians, it's pretty much a break even for them, because once you take all the food into account and the never ending grog, even just the toiletries are like amazing. Um, and all these activities that are included, like we're going to go and feed Tasmanian devils one night. We're going oyster shucking. We're doing the wine pairing at a winery that's nearby. There's heaps of activities you can do. I'm going to do a cooking class, a mixology class, like a cocktail class. But they're all sort of only like 45 minutes. So, well, the winery's like 2 hours. But so you can really enjoy your villa and the food that they bring to you. You can pretty much just lie on your big couch in front of the big open fire in your villa and be hand-fed peeled grapes almost. It's, hey, Lola. And it's also in one of the most beautiful places in the world. Yeah, everyone sees the prices and freaks out, but then, I mean, it's full on for me because I'm travelling on my own, so I'm paying the full price. But like, the boys are paying, you know, there's two of them, they're splitting it. But I haven't travelled anywhere. None of us really have because of COVID. And, you know, I mean, I used to take off to the Maldives for 2 weeks, you know, and then it cost me 6 or 7 grand, maybe more, probably closer to 10 grand. And I'd travel halfway around the world to sit on a beach that was beautiful, but no more beautiful than where I live. There'll be a few pictures, and I'll go live once probably, but most of the time I'm not really a camera in my face all the time person, even though I do YouTube. I'll be a little bit touristy, but for the most part, it is so pissy green eyes. And it was really funny because they send you, like, we got the email saying, oh, you're going to be visiting us in less than 3 weeks. Let's talk. Let's start booking in all the things that you want to do. And the very first question is the name of your companion, as in, you know, your travelling companion. And I said, oh, look, I'm companionless, but I'm travelling up with these boys. And they actually said, holy shit, good on you. But considering all the stuff I've had going on in my life, I mean, like I said, everyone's got stories. My life story's a life story like anyone else's, but I really can't wait to just go somewhere where for 3 days I don't have to make a decision. Nothing. Like, it's all paid for. They do a little itinerary for us. I'll be in my villa probably having a little afternoon siesta, and then if like magic, some nourishing local seasonal food will appear for me to shove in my face. I do not have to make one decision. Well, the only decision I have to make is what clothing I'm going to wear, or whether I'm going to get the hammock and lie out on my deck in the sun and read a book, or whether I'm going to have a nap because it's raining, or whether I'm going to grab a bike and go for a ride, or if I'm just going to go for a walk on the beach. Like, I have very few decisions to make, and that's such a luxury for anyone who's single and lives on their own. Know what I'm talking about. My sister maintains, even though she's got a husband, she always makes all the decisions, and I'm like, nah, he makes a few. When you're single, you get tired from having, like, even traveling overseas. I used to get exhausted deciding where I was going to go. It's like, fucking hell, you're planning an overseas trip. But just to make that decision, because I have like 3 or 4 different places, and I'd often just spin the globe and point it somewhere, or I'd put my places that I was thinking of in a bowl and just pull one out and I'm like, right, you're committed. That's where you're going. Last week was a nightmare week, really, in terms of life things that are bad. It was a week of a few too many really heavy things. But look, we all have stories, you know. But yeah, it was one of those weeks where I was just like, really, that's got to be it. And then boom, something else. It's like, holy shit. It was very intense. But, you know, we went live yesterday. Everyone had stories that warranted love and attention, and we all gave each other lots of that. And today was, this live was, I've got a bit of time while I put on my makeups in the car at the car park to have a few giggles. But yeah, I wanted to see what was going on in the drama world. But I'm curious to learn more about this PI. I can't read chat for a lot of the drive-in because with it being school holidays, we haven't had any crawly. Have you noticed that? That bit of the highway where we normally crawl for about 10 minutes. Did you guys see the mountain and the snow in the distance before? I forgot to mention. It's another grey, gloomy day. It'd be nice to get a sunny day, but so far, no sunshine. But apparently this is the week we've got. But I don't mind it. I love all the wintry clothes. I'm in a symphony of knitwear today. I've actually got on a knitted dress and I love it. So snuggly and warm. It's like a cable knit sweater, but it's a dress. Oh my God, it's divine. And then I've got a poncho, a short one over the top of that I can kind of push up around my neck like a scarf when I've got my coat on, or have it down like a proper poncho. But it's fairly thin, but it's knitted. And then I've got this knitted scarf that's oversized. And I remember when I got it thinking, I'll never wear that. That's just too big and chunky, but it's mohair and it's so fucking warm. And I've got my beanie. I've got my alpaca cream-coloured beanie, and I've got my knee-high boots on, which I love. They're not knitted. And then I've got my big yummy shit. Yeah, I did grab it. Thank fuck for that. I've got my big, it's a puffer jacket, but it's not a black waterproof one, which is the Tasmanian tuxedo. It's a fine navy blue corduroy one, but it's very warm. It's like wearing a doona. So I'll be as snug as a bug in a rug because I still like going for a walk around the block at lunchtime. So I look like a big ball of wool today. But I'm so warm and snuggly. Did I mention my little mohair fingerless gloves? I've got them too. Whoever came up with the idea for fingerless gloves is a genius, because I do love my gloves, but anything you need to do, you've got to take them off. But fingerless, you don't have to take them off. I'm constantly pulling off one of my gloves and exposing my hand that suddenly gets cold. See, did you see that girl in the big puff jacket with the beanie? Hers was pink. She had a fancy Tassie tuxedo. This guy's got a grey one. Puffer jacket palooza. Yeah, Doona is Australian for duvet. I went to Des Moines. I lived in Missouri, so we did quite a few trips to Des Moines. I played hockey there. On the end of my year as an exchange student, we did a 6-week trip out to New York, and Des Moines was, I think, the first stop. And one of the first friends I made on YouTube's in Des Moines. I haven't seen him for a few years. I should message him. Hey, Turtle Dove, you're driving too. Will you take care? None of that texting on your phone stuff. Sorry I haven't been able to read chat, but the lack of gigantic 4-wheel drives with tiny children in them because it's school holidays, not having the school traffic, it was a joyful trip in. Like, it takes me 35 minutes in non-peak hour to get to Hobart, and it's taken 40 minutes, so 41 minutes. So it's only like 5 minutes longer at the moment, but when it's school holidays, it becomes like an hour trip. Or not school holidays, when school is back, it takes about an hour. Those fuckers add another 20 or 30 minutes to the trip because there's so many cars and they've all got one teeny little kid in them. Yeah, you be safe, Turtle Dove. We actually called Missouri Misery when we were there. I loved it though. I was in Kansas City. I fucking loved it. Kansas City is a cool city. It's very arty and quirky. It's not that dissimilar to Hobart, except it's much bigger. But yeah, we used to call Missouri Misery. Or when we went down to Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri. Cop behind you. Yeah, there you go. All right, so I'm going to put makeup on and you guys are going to spill some tea. I want to know. I want to know about this PI guy. What's going on there? And tell me about the Dylan Round case, because that keeps coming up in my notifications and I just have not been online long enough to investigate. I've been doing a lot of pottering at home too, in between calling friends and going to funerals and all that sort of stuff. And I came up with the plan to watch US, like Survivor is my ultimate favourite TV show. Well, not of all time. There's other shows I love as well, but it's one of my favourites. And I decided I was going to watch every season of Survivor from start to finish because occasionally there'll be like a fans and favourite sort of show and I don't know some of the people. I'm like, oh, I've missed a few seasons. And I'm fucking loving it. But I just have it like playing in the background. And then when it gets to Tribal Council, I run over and watch that because I love seeing their facial expressions. Okay, the PI is obsessed with homosexuality and cross-dressers. Cusses non-stop and shouts. PI is a nutbag. So is PI an actual PI? Or is it someone who's got PI in their name, but they're clearly not? I'm just putting on my foundation, so no glasses for the moment. Foundation and powder, and then I'll re-glass and see what's going on. Is this person an actual PI or is it just their name? Are they swearing? Do you reckon it's like someone who's been in the community for years and they've just got a new name? Or is this some new Fruit Loop? who's entered the arena. The only crappy thing about wearing all these beautiful wintry knitted things is my earrings get caught. I forgot to put some studs in. Dangly earrings and winter clothing are not really a good combo. Not that I wear massively dangly, but I wear things that dangle a tiny bit. And because I've got that gigantic scarf and it's all bunched up around my neck and face. But yeah, I should have put in some studs. I didn't do that. But that's all right. I'll let the knitwear be the hero of my outfit today. A symphony of knitwear. Supposedly an actual PI. The PI is being investigated on YouTube creators to see if he's legit. Okay. So which communities is the PI in? What communities are being terrorized by the PI? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm all for a clever troll who causes chaos and confuses them all because I think it's quite funny seeing these sort of know-it-all YouTube creators go into tailspins because someone's rocking the boat and they don't know how to handle it. I mean, YouTube is a spectator sport, let's be honest. And yeah, if there's someone funny who can create chaos and rattle their cages or ruffle their feathers, I'm a bit for that. Because some of them just get so comfortable being fucking dictators of their own channels and communities that, you know, occasionally somebody causing a bit of drama is, and they're not, you know, they're all scrambling to work out who it is and everything. I find all that quite funny. That's why I generally don't like people being blocked on my channel unless they're people who have shown absolutely no respect to us, and have just barged in and started telling me what I should be doing on my channel, and they're not even decent enough to sort of introduce themselves or wait their turn. You know, they just completely, I'm just lining up my car, it's annoying me. You know, they're not respectful of the conversation that's going on. They don't sort of just arrive and settle in. They sort of that, and when you ask them politely numerous times and they keep doing it, I do block them. I can't be fucked with them, but generally, trolls, don't block. Yeah, I know. I want to know too, Tony. Where do we find this dude or chick? Turtle Dove doesn't know. Yeah, they are crap channels, Ski. You hear it secondhand. Oh, so Jules of Thought has she she encountered the PI? I love cross-dressing homosexuals too. I love cross-dressing straight people too. You want to know who H.G. Wells is? So there's, yeah, he did. I was going to say the same thing. So there's someone on YouTube calling themselves H.G. Wells. See, to me, this is hilarious. I want the PI to come and say g'day to us. We could do a Q&A session. I mean, if it's someone who's being a complete fucking asshole and, you know, doxing people and swatting them and that kind of stuff, trust me, I'm not a fan. But if it's someone who's just stirring up shit and it's putting all of these people who've gotten way too comfortable with their YouTube communities and the money they make on there, and they're not really doing anything new or original. If there's someone who's made an appearance who's giving them a bit of a razz, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. It still drives me insane that these channels get so many members and subscribers, and they are literally just gossip channels. So if there's someone floating around giving them a bit of shit, bring it on. If you type in Dylan Rounds, the PI should pop up. All right, that's good advice. Thanks, Lee. So can someone fill me in on the Dylan Rounds case? What's that about? Just doing my eyeshadow. And then we'll have like 20 minutes. It's 4 degrees in Hobart. It was 5 when I left home. I've left the tropics. Oh, the car next to me, her radio's up full bore. At least blast out some magnificent tunes. Not the fucking news. We don't need the volume up that loud for the news. And advertisements. She's frantically texting on her phone, but the volume of her radio is so fucking loud. I don't know how she can hear herself think to type something. Oh, she's heard me, or she's realised, because she's now muted her radio. We see, look, we've solved that problem. I can't do that. I can't focus on... If I'm on the phone to someone and someone starts talking to me, which, I find incredibly rude, but if they do that, I can't listen to who I'm talking to and also hear and respond to the person talking at me. But yeah, there's a little hint. Don't ever, if I'm on the phone, expect me to listen to what you're saying when I'm talking to somebody else, because that makes me get anxious. Good day to you, Sketty. Much love. Always good to see you, gorgeous. HG Tudor, my last 2 brain cells. Hang on to them. Although you only need 1 in this community, so you've still got, you can afford to lose 1 more, Turtle Dove. He's a young man in his 20s that's missing. He's a 19-year-old who's missing. There's persons of interest. Hello, medicine man. Hello, gorgeous. You groovy people, and you're a groover too. Thanks for popping in with your message of love. And aren't we lucky? We've got medicine man just rolls in, leaves a really positive message for all of us, bit of love for all of us, and then rolls along. Dodo, hello. Sleuth mom interviewed the mom of Dylan and played the phone call between her and the PI, and the PI turned on. Okay, Dodo's got the tea. And good evening to you too. Okay, so Dylan's mother, the missing kid's mum, or he's an adult, was on the phone with the mum and the PI, and so this is a legit PI, as far as we know. Missing in Utah. Okay. Well, at least I'm up to speed on what that... Well, that's very sad that he's missing. But I won't be following it. Well, maybe I should, so I can meet the PI. No, maybe not. No, I don't have any room for a new case, especially when I've really wanted to crank up my scam baiting, but you've got to be in the right headspace for that, and, lots of sad news in a row. It's very hard to get your head around, okay, go live now and be hilarious consistently and, catfish this scammer, and you've got to be funny to entertain the crowd, but not so funny that they know you're taking the piss. Oh, God damn it. I bought a nice coffee to bring into work with me today, and I've left that at home. Oh, well. That'll be a treat for tomorrow. But it's interesting. YouTube's so interesting that, you literally can open up your notifications and there'll be at least 2 channels that are talking about Chris Watts. Here we are in 2022, and that happened in 2018. There will always be at least one, usually 3 or 4 summer wells. It's kind of refreshing to hear there's another case being discussed. The only reason so many of these creators are still going on about cases like Chris Watts and Summer Wells is because of the money. Because really, like, if there was any breaking news, you'd go live straight away and cover it. But you just keep going live, just talking about these unsolved, well, not Watts, but Summer. And I still feel for all of the other kids that are missing that nobody's ever bloody bothered to talk about. It's not that Summer doesn't matter, but seriously, the amount of coverage that case has got and is still getting. You know, and there's probably a family less than 10 kilometres away with a missing kid, and no one's discussed it. I'd be bummed about that if I was one of those parents. Be like, why isn't our child even on the radar? I think that's kind of fucked up. And actually, the one thing I did see on YouTube in the last week of weirdness, which actually made me furious, was the video footage from the school shooting and the cops just doing fuck all, really. That was mortifying to watch. Those parents, oh my God. And so many people were defending the cops and saying, oh, that's what they're required to do. It's like, no. Oh, what if they've broken into the classroom and another kid got killed in the process? It's like they're in a hallway and there's gunshots being heard one after the other. Like, kids are being killed and they're in the building and they're just standing around. Yeah, it would be fucking awful if another kid lost their life, but how many lost their lives after the cops were there? I mean, it would suck if any kids lost their lives, but if one kid did lose their life as the cops burst into that classroom versus 10 or 9 or 4 or 2 or whatever it was that died after the cops had arrived, take the risk, And that's how I feel about it. It was horrible to watch. It made me feel sick. Oh, they're not trained to attend school shootings. Really? In a country that sadly has a shitload of school shootings, no cops. There are cops that still haven't been trained how to deal with that sort of stuff. Are you kidding? Wouldn't that be priority training in a country where you're allowed to bear arms? Wouldn't you be trained on how to deal with people who are doing shit with guns? Yeah, there's a lot of milk channels for sure. Hi, Ian Ellis. How are you, Groover? USA is like the Wild West now. Have you seen what these kids that do the shootings look like? Their parents give them, oh no, isn't it batshit? And it is really sad to watch, Scout. It is batshit. And why that child had access to the guns that were used, I mean, what the fuck? But I'm not one of those Aussies that goes live going, oh, you need to have a gun amnesty like we did after Port Arthur and get everyone to surrender their unregistered, unlicensed guns and, you won't have this issue. You can't do that in the States, but you can start to look at bringing in stricter regulations about gun ownership and, use, in my opinion, what was that other school shooting case and the parents are kind of up shit creek as well. But, parents who've given their kids access to guns need to be looked at as well and punished as well. And, there's stricter regulations in terms of being able to actually get a gun, own a gun. Those sorts of things can be brought in. and not fuck up your constitutional right to bear arms. But you don't need to have a fucking AK-47 either, you know? Like, restrict the sorts of guns. And, I mean, there's more guns than people in America now. So I'm not one of those naive fuckwits who's like, oh, we managed to bring in very strict gun control in Australia. Yeah, well, we didn't have more guns than people. It's not a constitutional right. So we don't do, but we're not overly, I mean, the stuff in our constitution, Australians are very rarely like, but it's in our constitution. Like, we don't have that kind of, like, we don't have freedom of speech spelled out in our constitution, but we've got it. Like, we don't use our constitution very often in conversation. It's my constitutional right. I felt that it was unbelievable cowardice too. And I found the people defending it didn't bring any interesting defences to the table. Like, if they had have, I would have gone, okay, that's a good point. But everything the people defending the cops were saying was like, are you fucking insane? Yeah, train the cops, tighten up access. Exactly, turtle up. And it is what it is. Like, I'm not one of these assholes in another country on the other side of the world telling you guys what to do, but I'm smart enough to know that guns are part of your culture, and doing what we were able to do here is never going to happen. Like, you can still own a gun in Australia, but you've got to go through a pretty strict process to have access to it. You've got to be licensed. The gun has to be registered. It has to be stored in a safe. They don't just, I mean, there's a gun shop near where I live, and you can't just walk in there and say, I want a gun. Like, the process of actually getting a gun, but you won't see any fucking AK-47s or assault rifles sitting on the shelves either. You know, the guns here, or handguns, like the guns here are sort of like rifles that farmers use, or, you know, athletes use. There's none of this sort of semi-automatic shit sitting on the shelves. I mean, it's the shop where I get my ciggies. So I see all the guns every day. But yeah, they're not like, we don't have ammunition on the shelves in our supermarkets kind of thing. In New Zealand, they did a gun grab about 3 years ago. Gun violence and shootings have never been greater here than now. Yeah, I mean, there you go. You have to, yeah, good guys handed in guns and bad guys didn't. I mean, you have to be realistic in countries where there's already guns, and with the way amnesties go now, I mean, it actually blew my mind after Port Arthur and the gun amnesty, how many people did hand in guns. But, you know, there was then the birth of the arms dealers, and, you know, but it's the school shooting sort of stuff just isn't part of our everyday life, thank fuck. I can't imagine what it must feel like to be a parent sending your kids off to school and not, you know, hoping to God they come home alive. Like, to even have to have that thought is tragic. And I'm a proud child-free person. Like, I'm not anti-kids as a result of that, but there are some child-free people that would be like, oh, don't you show any sympathy for parents? But I am. I think it would be horrible to be sending off your kids to school and in the background of your mind going, fuck, I hope they make it home in one piece today. Shouldn't even have to think that way. It's just not a thought that should even have to cross someone's mind. Or even teachers, you know, heading off to work. Well, I hope today is not our school. And I can't handle, like I said, some of the comments watching that police video and defending them. I also can't handle the people that say, oh, you know, we're in a sleepy little American town. We never thought this could happen here. Why not? It's happening all over your beautiful country. Like, how can you be that naive to think that because it's a little town in buttfuck nowhere that it won't happen there? To be honest, it's probably more likely to happen in little towns in buttfuck nowhere because you're going to get cops like the ones they did rocking up and he's still having a great old time on his little shooting spree and they're just all standing around scratching their asses not knowing what to do. In Greece, we all have guns. All boys do military service, don't have the population or issues USA has. And that's the thing. I think people that are, given guns and taught how to use them and taught how to respect them and all of that sort of stuff, yeah, the children are so innocent. It's fucking horrible. You look at their little tiny faces and think, how did that happen to you? That's just so unfair. It's fucking disgusting that they target schools because there's that horrible, like, just terminating lives that have barely begun aspect. And they do it for impact, So a school is going to get way more attention and sorrow, weirdly, than if they just go into a warehouse and pop a bullet into a couple of their former workmates. Those stories barely get covered, Expect the Kardashians to be selling body armor. Hey, whatever it takes. I'd love to go back to the States and travel around with some of my friends over there. I've got beautiful friends there. But I've got to admit, whenever I look at travel plans, it doesn't even rate on my list to go back there. Because all the things that I enjoy, like music festivals, anywhere where there's crowds of people, they're all no-go zones now, really. I think my days of being a music festival attendee are well and truly over. I went to Chanel last week and two guys were fighting over cologne. Crazy stuff. The lady gave me free Burberry for your purchase and that was very sweet of her. See, there's lovely people out there. They're like, well, this poor woman is clearly traumatized by these loud men fighting over cologne. That's my cologne. No, it's my cologne. Fuck you, it's my cologne. Oh, to have a life that is so blessed and charmed that the worst thing that happens in your week is you end up brawling over some cologne with some random stranger in a department store. What we would all give for a week like that, right? But yeah, that cop footage was so. I ended up, I couldn't watch it. And also there was noise in it that Sonny didn't like. It's awful when you can hear the gun going off. At least they had the decency to somehow extract the sounds of children screaming. But, there's a caption saying, oh, the sound of children screaming's been muted. Well, you might as well be playing it because as soon as you read that, what do? You hear the sound of children screaming in your head. Oh, I followed that case incredibly closely, Scout. That still to this day troubles me. That was horrific. And the photos that came out so quickly of all of the victims, and oh my God, it was just awful. That was so horrific. And that's the exact sort of thing where I'm saying my days of outdoor festivals or being out in large crowds of people and stuff like that are well and truly coming to an end. I've got some concerts in my calendar for here in the next few months, but I'm going to see 1927 in November, Scout. You jealous? Well, it might be September, actually. Yeah, I can't even imagine the life of young folk and what they've got sort of coming their way for the remainder of their life. Like what the world is going to be like. Yeah, I agree. I love live music. If there's enough ecstasy to go around, ravers are still saying, well, they're not, because there've been mass shootings in raves. There was that one in Paris at the Bataclan. And what about wasn't there some horrific fire in New York in a nightclub in a rave as well? Like, no, no. It is Scout. I won't be able to go live in it, but I'll try and get some sneaky footage for you, Groover. Oh, thank you, Dodo. I'll check them out when I'm having a break today at work, if I get to have one. Well, it's going in buildings and on the streets, and I know I feel very safe on this little island in the middle of nowhere, the bottom of the world. I'm not going to deny it. I'm very grateful I live on this little island. Even shit that goes down in Australia, like nobody thinks to bother with Tassie because we've only got 500,000 people on this island, and we've got the same amount of land as England with 500,000 people living on it. Oh, the future is looking grim. The government's releasing the State of Environment report today. Well, at least Tassie's carbon neutral. We were the third place in the world to become carbon neutral. I'm kind of proud of that fact. I better go in. My colleagues are arriving. Including my boss. So, yeah, I might head into work. I'll go in and show that I'm dedicated and I get into work 10 minutes before I'm meant to start. Yeah, I'm often in there about an hour before I'm meant to start. But yeah, I'm incredibly proud of Tassie for our carbon neutral status and to be the third place in the world to become carbon neutral. Tassie's such an interesting place. It's so conservative in some respects, and then it's really progressive, like crazy progressive in other respects. It's a quirky place to live. You know, there's some things that happen here that you just cringe and go, well, that's Tassie for you. And then there's other things that happen and you're like, I couldn't be prouder to live here. And pride and patriotism are two very different things. Like, it's not a patriotic issue. It's like just, I'm amazed at the fact that 500,000 people can achieve some pretty incredible shit here, too. I will look for Jim the PI. I'm intrigued. Have a great day, everyone. Throw some love at people out there on YouTube. Surprise them. They'll be like, who's this cheery, positive person? But I love you, Groovers. And yeah, have a beautiful day wherever you are. If you're in a cold place, stay warm. If you're in a hot place, cool down. And I'll see you all again very soon. Bye, beautiful people.